this skylight gets replaced. So, to measure it, I'm going to need to go down and get a tape measure. Okay. So this is 22 1/4 by 71 1/4. We can see that the seal has been broken here, and this may be a non-standard size, so I need to get some idea of the inside dimensions. I could build this thing wider than this, so I could make a curb 30 1/2 and as long as 68 1/2. The wall on the inside, say about 22. The drywall on the inside is more like about 23. And there's this ledge, 23 by 68. Drywall, 23 by 68. I'm thinking go for a standard size that's larger. Let's see what exists that's standard that I can put on a 30 1/2 by 68 or less. I had that skylight delivered by a crane sitting down there. It's not like the ones that are plastic domed. That's heavy because of the glass, and it has to be strong enough glass to resist hail, so it's thick and it's probably safety glass. I stored the flashing kit back here. Here's this skylight. I've taken some copper nails out of here, and this will be it says the top. So it's going to, you can see, this is going to be wider, and I expect to build a curb. It's a 2270. It's interesting. I would expect this to be really straight. But it's not. So the 2x4 frame would set on the inside of this plastic here. So this, I would take it that this plastic right here is the 2x4. The frame needs to just be a little bit inside of that. So I'm going to measure what that would be. 71 by 23. See, if I was really smart, that's probably in the literature, and I would have come with a 23 by 71 curb already made. See, they have this piece scored here. I guess that would be for a 2x6. 2x6 would bring the thing up to here. 2x4 would be right to there. Oh, 3.5. 2x4 is what it's gonna be. And go make this curb 23 by 71. To the inside. There's the frame. It measures slightly different than the manual, but it fits. I had it fit in there. And here's the thing we're going to take off. I took my tool belt off so I don't accidentally drop it on this glass piece here. Remove the skylight. This was nailed up around the side. Oh my goodness. What remains is to take the flashing off the bottom. The glass insert. Well, that's fortunate that there's not a whole lot to do there. Now, what the instructions say is we need to get the flashing tape and run around the perimeter. There's nothing about securing the frame, the curb, to the deck. It will be secured by the flashing, but what if the flashing doesn't hold very well? It doesn't stick to the asphalt. I think it needs to have a few screws, so I'm going to toe screw. There's some good wood in there. That's good. All right, now we're going to flash with the membrane. So the first thing, yeah, I gotta put this in to get the warranty. Oh, I see. Let's have it go over the metal as well, and have it, let's have it come up this far. Now this piece needs to be laid down. They say move a ½ inch from the corner, and we can lay that down and wrap that around. But you cut it here for the 2x4 curb. This whole height is for the 2x6 curb. And I can see that if I bend it down, it'll cover over this membrane. This might show down here. I want this to come down just that far. It's about a ½ inch over that edge. Further. It says a ½ inch from there to the corner. This is where a long blade comes in useful. Now, the top and bottom. The bottom goes on first. Well, I made this frame. I measured from the inside of that, and I didn't watch what they said to make it at, and I had no idea that their flashing had such a close tolerance. So now I need to make my own flashing, which I'm happy to do. That's what I'm used to doing most of the time. This is an opportunity to show how it's done if you have to make it yourself. See, if I use this, it's not gonna come down here far enough. Okay, we're making the sides of the skylight flashing, and instead of using a bunch of little steps, I'm just going to make one whole long piece. I'm starting to measure from up the side of the skylight. It's a 2x4, so that's 3.5. Then it's gonna come out 2.5 and down, I don't know, some amount. We'll see when we get there, and then a hem on the end. So this is the 3.5 measurement. I cut it here so I can see it from both sides, you know, this side and this side. Then here's the 2.25, and then I need to make the drip edge and a hem. So it's not like I'm going to get two pieces out of here. This is 14. I would have to end at 7, and it wouldn't be very much of a drip edge if I split this in two. So this much is just going to have to be waste. I'm going to make the hem out of this 2-inch section here, and I'm not going to mark the hem. So this piece will get ripped right here. 3.5. Two and a half. And then 2. In order to cut right on this line, it needs to be 1.5 inches out. So that is 1.5 inches. I'm going to lock this in position by just engaging that cutting edge, and then we'll have one and a half. This is 1.5 out from there. We can lock it and cut it. I've never had it cut like that. This part usually goes down. If I bend it like this, it'll be the black side out. This is where the hem is. So if I bend the hem down, we'll have the gray side out. So let's go with the gray side out. So I push this in to where it's even with this. That's the smallest hem I can make. Flip it up, push it back and crimp it down. Smash that hem down, then come out to this spot here, but it needs to be bent up, not down. So I have to turn it around. I'm going to crimp it down once again. It seems to be a little too open. Now I'm going to put a 45-degree kick out, let's say. So what I want is that piece just to be right even to there, and that works out to be, once again, even with the front edge of this. So, and this is a 45. That's about right. And now this piece needs to be, goes up and then it goes in. So we're gonna have to bend it on the other side. Three and a half. So we have to measure, this should be 2.5. And it is 2.5. 3.5. 2.5. Okay, this is a drip edge. It goes straight and down 90. Then across the top and up. This will be a 90-degree bend. 2.5 inches back. Just to make sure. 2.5. 2.5. 2.5. So this goes straight up. Like this, and this goes up under the skylight. So this is one side. And we repeat the process on the other side. Because the hem measurements are determined by the smallest amount I can make on this brake. For the bottom, this dimension here is 7.5, 7.25, 7.25 there, 7.25 there. Is it on the line? There's the line, there's the line. We're good. And this is a 90. We want it not quite a 90, so it, when I shove it in there, this side comes down and the side above. Now this needs to be 3.5, and it's 4.75. So how to cut this off? Now I wasn't planning ahead. I should have done it from the other side, not from this side, but this stuff is so thin I was able to shove it in here and cut this off. this is still a good angle. It's opening more than 90, but that will work in our favor. Now 7.5 and up 3. These strips here might come in handy because I'm thinking about clipping this instead of just penetrating it through the top. We'll see about that in a minute. So this goes up a 90, or actually a little less, so it springs into position, and there, that'll be the top. If we make halfway down the shear cuts, it should minimize this wrinkly edge. So here's the piece we made on the brake, and I put it in place and scribed the back of it to cut the length so it'll be flush with both these edges. I screwed down a couple of straps that I'll use. It's very windy right now, and I have to keep everything weighted down. We'll put this here. I lifted the window up, put a piece of styrofoam from the packing. I bent this up to show where the bend was, but I want to double this up, so I will make that bend a little bit beyond this bend, like 3/8 of an inch. So now I jam this up there as far as I can get it and bend this over. All that's required is to cut straight down from here and bend this over. Like this. The same thing here. Now this is kind of going up here, so I'll need to cut it flush. This is just gonna be a rough cut. So the water comes down here, and often we'll just bend this in and fold it over like this, but usually it doesn't come out this far. Here are the finishing touches and a discussion about what worked and what didn't work. I used oval head stainless steel screws here, and I'm going to put a touch of 100% silicone on there. I could have used pole barn screws. They're galvanized, or this one's painted. It has a neoprene washer, but they don't last. They get rusty and streak. Little tabs that are folded over. These screws were supplied by Velux, the manufacturer. Here's the pros and cons. So this is the flashing that they supplied, and this would work for 2x6. Otherwise, you cut along this line for a 2x4, and so I would have to cut all these step flashings all the way up. The color would match. That would be nice. And then I would have to do this, use these benders and bend it down so I wouldn't get this nice edge. And then I would have also some fasteners, and they're supposed to be put up here, and they have a protocol. The fasteners would go up underneath these. In order to remove this, if you ever wanted to, all you have to do is pull this out and snap it out. It looks a lot cleaner than if I would have had this smashed down and going all the way up, one after another. It would look like fish scales. So this is what I should have done is figured out how far the curb came down and made a mark so that there wouldn't be any pressure, or used a heavier gauge coil. This is really fine coil. I have a bead of silicone in here so water won't go in there, but I'm going to put another little bit of silicone there, put silicone there. It would have been a lot nicer had I taken the old Skylight off, and when this one was delivered, have them put the old Skylight on the ground in the same operation. It cost $250 to have this put up on the roof. Is well worth it. Compared to the other one, this unit is very heavy. And the other mistake that I made was I made this frame, I measured it based on what was going on the inside, how it fit to the inside. That ended up being 1/4 of an inch wider, and so the flashing kit costs about $150 or so. Did not fit. If you're going to use a flashing kit, make it according to what they say. 1/4 of an inch makes a difference. That is it.